So this is the oscilloscope on multimeter mode, DC voltage. If we just connect that up, we've got it on auto range. You can also make that manual, and then just back to auto range. You can also pause this, and you can also set up with this delta button a reference value, which stores that in the top left hand corner, and then it'll tell you the difference between the original voltage and what you've got now. So we've got it hooked up here to the mains voltage, AC 242 volts. We can put it on manual mode here. Obviously you've got ranges there from 2 volts, 20, 200, 750. Obviously it's only going to read above 200 volts, so it's needing to be on the 750 volts. And it says manual there, and we can press auto to auto range it, just to give you an idea on the time scale it takes to find the voltage. So we've gone back to 2 volts there, and there it is, 242 volts. You can also pause that. Okay, to measure a diode, we just put it on the diode setting. So one way it conducts, and the other it doesn't. You've got your continuity testing, which is the speaker there. Get it on the oscilloscope mode, you have to press mode. We need to go on channel 1. We need to make sure we're on the AC setting, and we've got our attenuator on ×10. Then we can push auto. And we just make sure that's channel 2, channel 1's on AC ×10. Taking measurements, then you can just press the measure, and you've got your different measurements here. Channel 1 or channel 2, you can add various items here, and you can turn them on, and they appear in the bottom left hand corner. Some of the readings we've got at the bottom are MI, which is the minimum peak voltage, MA, the maximum peak voltage, and VPP, that is the peak to peak, so the difference between the minimum and maximum peak voltages. The last one, VA of 632 volts, is the amplitude, so that is the difference between the steady state high level of the frequency and steady state low level. So that is mainly used in digital signals, where it's going to disregard any distortions in the signal. The first V is 8.12 volts, and that is the average between the minimum and maximum. That should be 0 on an AC waveform because they cancel each other out, but I think the trigger level is not set to exactly 0. The frequency of 50 Hz is how many times that signal repeats every 1 second, and the time period of nearly 20 milliseconds is the duration of 1 complete cycle of the wave. So we just turn those off for now. You can also go on cursor, channel 1 voltage, and we can select A at the top there, and B we can move to the bottom. And that will give us our measurements there between A and B. Go on time, and it will give us a vertical cursor there. We can move B. And that will give our measurement there. So you can see in the top left hand corner each horizontal division is 10 milliseconds, and the period of one cycle that's between A and B is about 2 of those divisions, and we can actually see there it is 20 milliseconds for the period of one cycle. If we take the reciprocal of that, that is how we end up with our frequency of 50 Hz. Or we can have time. So this is useful for measuring duty cycles. So we can put one at the start there, and that is at the start already of the next one. So you've got 1 millisecond. To save on here, you can just go to Save, Reference Wave, Channel 1 if you're only doing one channel. You can save up to 4, so we'll save it to R1, and then you just press Save, and you can display it. So if we make this a smaller timescale, we then can go back in and display the saved wave. We can just turn that off. To save the settings you've got here, such as the 100 volt divisions and the timescale, you can go to Save, Configure. You can save up to 4, and then so if we save it to S1, just press Save, and then if we just change this now to a different scale, we'll just turn off the saved waveform there that we've got up. We can then bring back the configurations we had originally. So S1, recall, bring it back. So on the trigger then you can see that we're on channel 1 AC. That arrow going up means we're on the rising edge, and we've got it set at 0 volts in the middle there. So if we press trigger, we're on channel 1 AC, we're on auto, and we're on the rising edge. You can see it starts there in the middle as it starts to rise. If we change it to the falling edge, and we can just turn off our measurements there, you can see the trigger is on the falling edge. So what we have here is the oscilloscope on its 1000 Hz or kilohertz square wave. We can go to trigger, put it on source 1 DC on the rising edge, and if we move the trigger up, we can see it doesn't detect the pattern anymore. We go back to trigger, we can do trigger center, and it just takes it back to the middle of the wave. So if you had a glitch happening here that you wanted to pick up that wasn't occurring all the time, what you can do is you can take a single shot of when that glitch is happening. If you know what sort of voltage your glitch is happening at, say we knew it was happening at 3.6 volts there at the top and we wanted to pick that up, what we can do, we can disconnect this, we can move our trigger level, single shot, move it up to 3.6 volts where our glitch is occurring, and we'll just connect this back up, and you can see it takes a single shot of when that actually happens. There's a few reviews on Amazon about how people are getting these and they've got the wrong language set up, so I thought I'd just show you how you do that. So you can go into system, you've got display here, you can alter the brightness, you can alter the time the display is backlit, and how long the menu time stays up for. That's this menu here. And then there's just some information there on how long you've had it turned on for. If you go into system, you can then change the language there and alter the time the multimeter stays on for, and then you've got some information there, serial number and model. Default setting, that's for connecting to a computer or USB stick, and then to return it to its default settings. So if you need to change the language, you just need to go to System, F2 for System again, and then F1 will be the language.